Yeah.
Okay, so I have just put your project here in. Is everybody here first? Yeah. So inside a folder called Abhi slash. What is your project? What is your project name?
Project.
Which file I should take here?
Yeah, the first two programs,
This one.
they are both using jQuery, but different methods.
Okay.
Like one is using dot post and one is using dot
Get.
Ajax.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. So let me see this first. jQuery using. Now we are seeing jQuery using what is it? Etc using jQuery. Etc using jQuery. Okay, this one. So what have you done here? Okay, ID form data method. Oh, you are giving the action. This is server side submit. This should be your problem, I guess. So you mean like when I submit this, what happens? Oh, it is blinking and going. Yeah. So it is working properly. So what you are saying is you are saying that you are asking it to server side submit, right? So method post action, if you are giving this and if you are giving input type as submit, okay, button type submit, then it means if you click on this automatically will redirect to this page. Remember yesterday we were doing this. This is server side submit. You have done it, okay. And also you
Yeah.
are saying that on click you have to form input, you have to call the function. So this will work, but this will blink and go because
Okay.
it is going to the next page. As you see here, it is in the next page now. Okay. So
Okay.
if you
Okay.
are just using this one, I mean, if you are not going to submit this form to server, just use it as input type button. Okay. Then I just go to the previous page. Okay. Now I click on submit. Everything should work as intended. So data posted. This is here. And are you calling an Ajax call? Yes. You do call that as well. So everything is fine.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so be careful about this. Like if you are giving right now, this is not needed at all for you because you are not going to do a server side summit at all. Okay, I will not be talking much about
Okay.
server side summit. I was just showing you that demo because you have to understand how it was done in server also. But these days we normally go with the other API itself. I mean with the Ajax concept itself. So we even don't want this. Okay, so
Okay.
don't use
Okay.
summit method summit. If you are using method summit, we can even get that event in JavaScript and work on it. But let's don't confuse it now. Let's use button itself. And on click, you can call a function. Yes, you have called it. So I think these are the old code. It's fine. Looks fine. Yeah, you
Oh
can.
yeah.
Yeah, you
This is
have.
the.
Yeah. So this Ajax function, what now Abhi have done is okay. So post see this I mean this dollar is jQuery actually. So this dollar is an object. So whenever you have included this jQuery, okay, let's learn about this first. I haven't told you what is jQuery. I have told you, but let me start again. Okay, so jQuery is some kind of library which is written in JavaScript itself, so that we can use it with JavaScript. So the use of jQuery is it handles some operations which we do with certain difficulties in JavaScript becomes simpler there. For example, that XHR request. Okay, there were some problems with it. Plus, the code that day we wrote right XHR XML HTTP request new instance and we did something and all. So sometimes some browser might not support this. There might be some certain thing we have to do to make it work in some other browser in some other version. So there were little complexities. Okay, so if you're using jQuery, they provide some easy functions, and we use that. They handle every complexities inside them, so we don't want to worry. So instead of using the JavaScript function or JavaScript classes, we directly use jQuery functions, which internally handles all this complexity for us. Okay, so how do we include this jQuery? It's rather simple. So you have to include a file. So here she have done it here. Yeah. So the this Ajax is here in this URL. Okay, so she can just copy and paste it here. So sorry. So you see, this is the jQuery file. We have a lot of code here. Okay, so everything is minimized. So we minified. So we will not understand it. So we have everything here. So this is the jQuery file. Okay. So this is supposed to be included in our project. So that is what we are doing here. So to include a script, external script, we will use it like this. Okay, this is the script tag with which we can include a JavaScript file inside our HTML file. Okay, so we here normally write the JavaScript in this page itself. We are writing it here. We can also put this JavaScript in a different page, and you can include it like this. Okay, that is also possible. And also this file, right? You can just download this file. You can just download this file. Okay, we call this as CDN because this is in a CDN, which is content delivery network. So many projects we will be using this jQuery and many related libraries. Okay, so instead of putting it in our own project, so they host it in a server. Okay, so we can use it. We don't want to download it to our own server to get this. Okay, this is one way. So this is taking the jQuery from CDN directly, or you can save this. Okay, now you can save this. So I'm saving this to um, um, www. No, how do I take it? Ah, okay. Now I simply download it to downloads. Okay, download it to downloads. Now I can show in Finder. So I can just take this and put it in my own file. So here I can put it. Okay, so now it is in Abhi's project folder itself. So now instead of doing this way, I can simply include my jQuery directly here, which is in my folder itself. Okay, so this means jQuery.min.js is now in Abhi's folder itself. So this is also correct. Okay, now you refresh, you see in the network, you'll see Ajax, it's being called. So it is from your own HTTP local host www.acp. So this is in our own folder. Okay, you get the same file here. Okay, and this is also okay. So now you refresh it, you get the jQuery from that library, that URL, which is the CDN. Okay, I'm not going deep into the CDN. So there is certain use of using CDN, like it will be having cache in multiple servers, and it will be little more faster than if you're using it in your own server. They used to say something like this and all. So don't worry about that now. We'll let's go with JavaScript first. Okay, so this is CDN kind of including. Okay, that we have done. So once this jQuery min is included, we'll have a special object in our. Get an object in our console or in JavaScript window object, which is dollar. Dollar means it's jQuery. Okay, if you get this properly, then it means yeah, the jQuery is properly included in your project. So I give dollar, yes, it works, which means, and this dollar is actually inside the window itself. As I told you, every single variable will be in the window. So window dot dollar also works. Okay, so now you have included jQuery this way, and you have successfully got the jQuery object here. Okay, as we have already spoken, like the dollar, I mean, window is the global object, and everything is included in that. Here now jQuery is the global object for this jQuery. So every functions that we need inside jQuery will be in this dollar, and this is a big object. Right now you see it as a function, but just consider that this is an object. Okay, so when you see here, you are calling dollar, it is an object, and there you are using a method called dot ajax. Okay, this ajax method is what we are using to trigger the ajax calls. Okay, and there we are passing a single object. Okay, in that object they are saying which type we have to use, and then we are saying which URL it should point to, and data, which is this object, and this is the callback function. Okay, in the success, what you have to do, and this will be the response text, which means what is the response you're getting from the API, you will get it here. Okay, there we got it like this dot response text. Okay, so that is what we are doing here, and there we are storing this reference in post data. Why? Because there is a method called error. Okay, so this will be getting triggered when there is an error in this API. Okay, let's see. So now let me just console this console.log. I'll put a symbol to understand what it is. Okay, so text. So let's see what is the text here. Okay, so I'm just refreshing again. So when I click on this, an etc request should go. Okay, so I'm submit. Yeah, the etc request went. Okay, and what am I getting here? We are getting a response here. Awesome. And in the console, see, this is the console that I did. So you're getting the console properly here. So now you already saw an use of it. This is a JSON response, but we are not doing any JSON parse. I think jQuery is automatically doing it for us. If it is a JSON response, they are automatically making it as JSON parse. Earlier, what we did is we used to use this JSON dot parse in our previous example to get the real JSON data, I mean the object. But now the response text automatically is JSON parsed. Okay, earlier we used to do this line. Do you guys remember we did this to get the actual object? Earlier it was a string. Okay, but now we don't want to do that because jQuery itself is giving it as a JSON object. Okay, it is not a JSON string anymore. It is an object. Yeah, and she's trying to show the first name here, but we didn't see the first name because I haven't typed anything in the first name. Okay, when I type in first name, submit, you get the data posted. Yeah, so there is no space between data posted and this one. So if I need to give the space, I have to give it here. Okay, giving space here or here will not actually bring the space in that pop-up. Space is also a string, so you have to include this inside the string. Okay, so now you refresh the page. Now you will see it submit. So now you have a space, and yeah, done. So why we are putting this here? This is not taken. This will not be taken. Okay, this is a syntax where we will be plusing or concatenating the string with a variable name. Okay, that is what we are doing here. Okay, and so string should the space should be a string. So we are leaving the space inside this. So sometimes some people used to do it in another way. So if it is string, they are considering it as a separate string and they do it like this. So this is a string, and then we are concatenating, pasting it. With that, we are concatenating a space, and then again a plus, and then we are concatenating a variable. So this will also work. So different types of concatenation to bring the space out. Yeah. Now it again works. Okay. So now when this will be called? So I believe like this will be called when we are having an error in this API. But this API will not give us an error because this is a valid API. What if I give something wrong here? Okay, this is a non-existing API, right? So let's see how does this behave now. Okay, this should be a 404. I'm refreshing it. Let's see what happens. So this URL is not there actually, so it should give you a 404. What? User X? They are also keeping user X. Let me change this now. Let me check. I have it as a valid API there also. Yeah, now this is 404. Okay, when it is 404, this is an error API. See, it is you are seeing it in red, right? That time, this callback function is called automatically. Posting data failed. Okay, so this is a callback function. This is also an anonymous callback function. This is passed inside this post dot error. I mean post data dot error. Okay, so then this will be this callback function will be called when there is a problem with the API. Again, I have already taught you about this. This is a callback function, and we call it anonymous as it is without any name. But we can even put this in a variable where error error function, and you can store it there, and you can pass it here. This is also same. this should be also same. So I click on submit, you get the same thing. Okay, now we are passing a named function inside this. Earlier we were passing this anonymous function directly inside it. Okay, this is now not anymore an anonymous function because it is stored in a variable called error function. So this error function is the function now. Okay, you can even pass that, but we don't want this. We can directly pass it here. I'm just showing you just for you to understand. When you are writing a function, a callback function like this, you should not write it in the same line. After this braces, okay, there should be an enter, and after the end of it, we should have this. This is the correct syntax for it. Okay, so now this is more readable. Any doubt, guys?
That question mark page equal to 2 is required there.
No, that is based on the API. Okay, so this is for pagination. So if you are not providing page equal to 2, they will give the first page params. If you are giving page 2, they give the second page. If they give page 3, you give the third page. So this is based on the API that the server side people have written. So here, if you're not giving, it should take the first page. That is how normally we used to do.
Okay.
Okay. So now this is fine. Now the same way, she have done another example where we are using for the same functionality we are using. No, this is the old one, right? Yeah. This
No,
is fine.
the other one. This is the old one. Yeah.
So here what she have done, there is a different way to do the same in jQuery. So now she is doing in some other method. Okay. So instead of getting everything from the form like this document.get element by id, get element by id, so instead we have something called serialize array. What it does is it actually gives the whole form data here. Oh, you have used the submit. This is what I was coming to say. If you're giving submit, then you have to call this function and then we can get the event. Okay, so you're not doing this, calling this function right now with on submit or on click. You are taking this event submit, okay, this submit, and then you are actually processing, and you are using form data directly. This will also work because it is an id, but if it is an id, always provide this hash. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, is this working? Let me see.
Yeah, it's working, but I have given the server side submit in the form. So,
okay, so server side submit should be also working here because you have handled it. Let's see. Let's run that now.
yeah, it's working.
Yeah, now I click on submit. So still it goes to the next page, but we should not allow the server side submit. Okay, but we are going to use the submit event itself. Earlier we didn't use the submit event. We was using the we were using just the we were using the click event itself. Okay, now the function is triggered via the click event. Okay, but here you are trying to do it with the submit event itself. Okay, so you are using the type submit itself. So this form will get submitted when this type submit is called. Okay, so I mean when this button is clicked, because this is a submit button, and use small letter s. Okay, and if you are submitting this, so what happens? So this form will get submitted. Okay, that is what does the event. So what we are doing is we are trying to stop it. We have to stop it. First of all, we are capturing this event submit, and then still this is moving to the next page. We should not allow it. We use that event itself, but we should make them stop first. So there is a first parameter here, okay, where you will be getting the whole event. So you can get it in any param, I mean any name. So you can have it as e or anything like this, I mean not a number. So you can get it in any param name. Okay, so I'll just keep it as e, which is the event. Okay, so when you console.log this, you will see an event here. It will be an event object. Okay, so we are clicking on it and the submit event is triggered, right? That event you will be getting in this object. Okay, the first parameter of this submit anonymous function. This is again an anonymous function, okay, where it ends. So till this, it is an anonymous function. Okay, you can see this. This is an anonymous function again passed inside the submit function of this JavaScript, jQuery. Okay, so here this first parameter of this anonymous function will be always the event. Okay, you can get it via any name. Okay, so now I'm taking it as E, so I'm just consoling it as E. So now, as it will move to the next page automatically, but I need the console even if it went to the next page. This is actually going to move to the next page because we have used the server side submit. But if it is going to the next page also, I want to see the output of or the console output of this one. Okay, so what you can do is click on the settings. You can click on preserve log. Okay, so until you clear this, the console will not get cleared. Okay, so now I am going to do the same. So I'm going to save it, submit it. Okay, now it went to the next page, but I don't see any console here. The console, I'm not seeing it. Even is this is getting triggered? Did you see it triggered, Abhi? It wasn't triggering. See that function itself is not getting triggered, isn't it? Okay. Are you there, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, but earlier it was working. Wait.
Okay. Let's see. No. You don't do anything there. Let's do it here. Okay. Just listen this. So I believe like maybe the reason is as we are using. I think we have to use hash here. Only then it actually denotes the form with this ID form data. So the form data is the ID of the form, right? So ID means we should denote it via hash. Okay, so hash says that this is ID. Okay, now let's see if that is working. See, now it works. Okay, I thought it will work even without hash. Fine. So now you got the alert. Okay, and then still it goes to next page, but you also see that event. See, this is the event object, and this event object is having the whole details of the event. Like it is type submit event, some IDs for it, something is there. Okay. So what is the use of this event object is, so this is the event which is asking the browser to submit or asking the browser to go to the next page. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, so that is the default behavior of the submit action. So when the submit action or the submit event is triggered, it actually go to this post URL. Okay, this post URL where it is what we are giving as an action here. But what we have to do, actually this is the default action of the browser, but we don't want to do this default action now. We have to stop that and we have to run this ajax here. So the default action should be prevented. So we have a function called prevent default. When you are giving prevent default, okay, not console.loggy, we don't want it. So I'm using prevent default function here. So remember, so just understand this, guys. The first parameter of this anonymous function will always be the event. Okay, for the submit function, if you're for this jQuery submit function, if you are passing an anonymous function inside it, and then the first parameter will be always that event. That you can get it as e or event or anything else. Okay, so if this will be an object, as I logged into the console, this is an object, and there you are having a method called prevent default. If you are calling this prevent default, automatically what is the default action of it will be prevented. That will not be done. So here, what is the default action? It should move to the next page. That will be prevented here. Okay, so now I refresh the page. Sorry, I have to go to the previous page first. Okay, now I try to refresh the page. I mean, submit it. So this is not going anymore. Okay, I'm clicking on submit again and again. What happens is it is coming inside this. Let's see, like this is coming inside it. Now we don't even know like if it is coming inside. I'm just consoling this simply. Okay, so let's see. I'm just putting this arrow mark to see like if there are a lot of console. I understand. Okay, this is coming from this line. That's why I'm putting this. Okay. So now I click on submit. You see, you are getting the event, but the form is not submitted. It's not going to the next page at all. Why? Because in this event we have a function called prevent default. Where do we have it? You are not having right here in the own property. You will have it in the prototypal property, I guess. Yeah, prevent default. Okay. So this prevent default is called, which means it is blocked. It will not It will not allow the actual behavior of form submit anymore. So we have successfully did that. Then what we have to do? We have to call the Ajax. Okay. Here now she's using something called serialize array. Why we are using this is, earlier what you are doing to get every values you are doing document.getElement by id, document.get element by id. So what if there is 100 input types? Okay, then you have to write 100 times document.get element by id, document.get element by id. So instead, we have something called serialized array in Java in jQuery. Okay, you can use that and you get all the form data. And here again, this should be hash. So what we are doing is dollar. This is jQuery. Inside this, we are inside that you have to pass. We have to now consider this dollar as a function, and you have to call that function with a parameter called what should be selected. Here I need the form data, which is ID, that should be selected. And this again is an object. Okay, so dollar, first of all, we are considering it as a function. As you know, when I put dollar, you saw it as a function, right? Okay, this function is also considered as an object. That's why we are able to do that $.ajax. We did it this way because this is also considered as an object, but actually this dollar is a function. Okay, this function actually gets a parameter now, which is the which element we are going to work on. Okay, you are passing that element. Now this function will give you another, kind of object. That object is having this serialized array method. Okay, I'm calling this. So what this would give us console.log data. So this should give all the form data. Okay, let's see. Submit. Okay, it is saying like the name of it and then the value of it. So we are having form values like first name, F name, and we are having the value as empty right now. I'm pasting something like this. So now the name is F name and the value is this. So we are getting it like this. Okay. And in the cars, how will this be handled? I don't know. For multiple checkboxes, I don't know how this is handled. Let's see. Okay, now cars, I have checked a few of it. I mean, for hobbies, I have checked few of it. So what is the output? Oh, hobby. Where is hobby? Oh, it is CB option. So it comes twice. So it comes twice actually. Okay, this is not what we need. We need it in an array. Okay, so we cannot completely rely on this, I guess. But this is a way to get all the data, but they should have some other way. Like, wait, let's see. So we are getting it like this. Okay, so we can actually bring our object easily with this. Okay, I can write a JavaScript function for that. But before that, I'm seeing like let's see the documentation of serialized array. Do they provide any parameters to customize our result? Okay, let's see. Serialized array, jQuery doc. Let's see what they are saying. So this is the jQuery documentation. Okay, what they are saying here is, okay, they will be getting the output like this itself. This is the example. This is something she have done. Okay, so here also they are using event.prevent default. Okay, which means they have to actually default behavior should be prevented. So they are doing it. Okay, what else they have done? So what? Okay, they are here. They are trying to show the values. Fine. So I think they only give this kind of output. So, but it is easier for us to bring the actual JSON object we need. So how should be our actual JSON object? So what we actually expect here is it should be an object like this, right? Sorry. So it should be an object like this. I'm just trying to type in here and show you how we need the or let me show it in here. So we need an object like this with f name as blah 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 comma, then we need the L name. This is the structure we need. Okay, now but we are getting it like this. Okay, but now we have to convert this to something that looks like this. That is our motive now. Okay, so how do we do that? First of all, what do you know what is this? This is an array, and we'll call it as an array of objects. Why? This is an array. Why this is an array? This is having this square bracket. This is starting with the square bracket, and this is having another square bracket here. So this is, and this doesn't have a key value pair. This is simply having few elements. First element, second element, third element, fourth element. But you see, each element here is again an object because it's having an open brace, closed brace, and it is having this name and value which is key, and we are having values. So this is an object. So an array and it contains objects. Okay, so we call this as array of objects. So now what I have to do is I have to bring this particular object with the help of this array of objects. So how do I do that is we have different ways. Let's see how we are doing it now. So I'm going to have another one variable, okay, const payload. Why I'm saying it as payload is this is what we are going to send as the payload. Remember that day in the network I shown you, right? We will be making post request, and here you will be having something called payload. Okay, we call it form data if it is form direct submit, or otherwise you will see something as payload. That is whatever we sent, the data we sent in the post request, we used to call it as payload. So I'm saying it as payload. Now it is an empty object for me. Okay, I'm just initializing it, or don't go with const, let's keep us var. Don't get confused, it's a variable. So it's var and it is payload, and it is an empty object. So now I console.log this. What I get is simply an empty object. So now I have to fill this object with whatever I need. Okay, so now I console it. So I click on submit. So you see, I get an empty object. Okay, so now I have to change this empty object something like this with all the key value pairs in the form. Okay, so to get that object, first of all, we have to loop this array and get this as the key and this as the value for the new object. So this is the key and this is the value for us. Okay, so first we have to loop this. So how do we loop an array? We have this for each. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have to use this data array and I have to loop it. Okay, for each. So for each is an function, and it accepts an anonymous function. Okay, and the first parameter will be the element each time. Okay, so this element, so for in the first loop this will be the first parameter. I'll say it as a. I'll just denoting it as a variable called a. Okay, so now first loop the a will be this object, second loop the a will be this object, third loop the a will be this object, fourth loop the a will be this object. And guys, are you getting confused with these things? This is nothing, this is just expanded. Like if it is like this, we don't see what is inside the object, right, or what is inside the array. If you're expanding it, you will see what are the elements inside it. That's it. Okay, so here first loop the a will be this one, second loop the a will be this one, third loop the a will be this one. So let's verify that first. Console.log a. Okay, so now I refresh it. Okay, I clear it. Now you see first loop, second loop, third loop, fourth loop, fifth loop, sixth loop, seventh loop. So each object you are getting for each of its loop. Okay, so if you are getting confused, I can show this correctly here. XXX. So this object should be near XXX. Okay, so now I click on submit. So now you verify, yeah, this is the same place we have considered. Okay, so XXX, yeah, correct. We are getting the objects, fine. So now this name's value is going to be my key, and this value is going to be my actual value. So the object payload, or why don't we just get the keys and values? How will we getting? How will we be getting this name? A dot name is the name, and what is the value here? A dot value is the value. Okay, so now I have parsed it again to what we need actually. So see, XXX, this is the complete object, and the key name should be F name for me, and the value should be this one. So it is empty, you're not seeing. If you're seeing it here, you can understand. So the name is PWD, and so that should be our key name, and the value name should be secret in our new object. Okay, so now you have it in a dot name and a dot value. So how will we add one new? Remember guys, I was talking about this. An object is already created, now you have to dynamically put some values inside it. So how we will be doing? So for example, payload is already created. So if you want to put some new key inside this, we used to use like this payload. I need to have one more key here like test, then I can put it like this. I'm having some random values inside it. So this is how we give the payload, right? I mean, give a few, new properties to the existing object. See, you are having this test. What is this? This test property already here. So how did we do that? Payload object is already created. Okay, and in that object I'm trying to add something called test. Okay, so let's come here. Now what I have to do is in the same payload, so I'm just removing this console for now. Okay, so what I have to do here is in the same payload object, I have to add something. And what is the key name here? It is in this variable a dot name. A dot name holds the variable c l name, f name. The key names are actually here. Okay, in the a dot name. So I just put this a dot name here. But see, here we are using codes because we are going to put something called a test directly. We are going to add a property called test. Here we are not going to add a property called a dot name. If you are putting like this, then it will be adding a property called a dot name. We don't want to add a property called a dot name, but this should be executed by the JavaScript, and the a dot name's value is different for each loop. So first loop we are trying to set something called f name. So a dot name will be f name, and second loop it will become a dot name will be l name. So for each loop, an object or an key, a key will be getting added. So what is the value of it? The value of it is a dot value. So I can paste this here. That's it. So now you can see it in action. I'm just consoling, like we can see like for each loop how this particular object is getting bigger. Okay, so I'm just giving the payload here. So for each loop, this payload will get executed. Okay, so I'm just removing this test for now. I don't want it. I was just explaining how we can add a new property to the existing object. Okay, here we are using it string because I want just the string to be the key, but here this is not my key. What is inside this is my key. This is actually a variable, so we don't use quotes. Okay, now I save this. Now let's see. I'm refreshing it. Now I click on submit. See, first time the object is just 123 itself because I have given that even now. Okay, so the first time the object is having only one key test. The second loop, and now it is coming inside the loop. In the first loop, the console.payload is actually giving test which is already existing, and the f name key is getting added. And next the l name, in the next loop l name also got added, and in the dob next loop dob got added, and next loop cars getting added, and then we are getting what else we have, password is getting added. So you can see this is getting bigger and bigger for each loop, right? See, first loop, second loop, third loop, each like it is getting added for each loop. Are you getting this?
Yes.
Yes, but now we again have the problem. What is the problem is here in this one, right? What was the name for this hobbies you have given?
CB options.
Why it is not there? CB options is not in this object, right? Do we have CB options here?
No.
Oh, it will come only if you check it.
Oh yeah.
Only when you check it, it will be coming. So now I click on submit. So it is now coming, right? CB option. But now what is the problem?
Yeah.
You know, you give movies and music. Now you should have this as an array.
Array, yeah.
But now what happens? You know, this the first loop it will be movies, so it will get added, and next time it will be saying CB options value is music. So music will get overwritten here. So you will not get movies. So now let's see. So now it will become CB option became music. Why? Because in the previous loop it should be CB option is movies, but then in the same object you said like CB option is going to be something else. Okay, something else in the sense music. So it got overwritten, but we expect this to be an array. Okay, so what we can do is there are a lot of methods. I'm just following something else now. So I'll initially say this as an CB option means, so CB option should be an array. I'm just initializing it here. Okay, when the object is created itself, I'm saying CB options should be an array. Okay, and then what I'm doing is I know now CB option is only the what? Only the checkbox here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is if a dot name equal to CB option. If it is CB option, so I am going to handle it in a different way. CBOPTION. Okay. If CB option, then I'll do it in some other way. And else, if it is anything else other than CB option, then we'll have this old logic itself. Okay. So let me put the console outside. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, if it is CB option, I'm going to write some code for it here in line number 70. But otherwise, other than CB option, for everything you can do it this way itself. Okay. So here, what I'm going to do is, if it is CB option, then we already have this array payload CB option. I mean, we already have this property here. So what we have to do is, we have to push the new value inside it. So now this is already an array, right? So what we have to do is, inside this one, I have to actually push this value. So now the array get updated each time there is a CB option value. Let's see, now this will work. So now I give and submit. So now CB option is already there, but there is nothing. It is simply 0. Okay, array of 0, array of 0, array of 0, because I haven't checked anything here. This is the actual initialization, the first initialization. From this, it's getting it as an array, but there is no value inside it. So when you open it, it is an empty array. Okay, but now I'm clicking on driving movies. I have clicked 2 of them, so I am clicking on submit. So in the first loop it is 0, second loop 0, third loop 0, fourth loop 0. But I think in the next loop or in the upcoming loop, when the CB option is coming, that time if you open it, what? You still have movies equal to CB option. Sorry, it's not CB option, it's CB option. Okay. Now I refresh it. So I click on submit. Right now CB option is simply an empty array. Now I add this. I'm giving CB option here also. Okay. Now I click on submit. Okay, CB option is 0 initially, but in the first loop it is getting one element added to it. Okay, and then here again the CB option is there. That time the next element get added, and then it get the third element got added. Now we get our expected result here. So it is driving movies and music. So understanding, guys, this is a special case. This should be an array value. So I'm just initializing it to 0, and whenever it is CB option, then I'm just trying to push the new values inside this array. Any doubts here? Okay, now today we have learned something here. Okay, we are using jQuery. So now even if it is 100 input form, this should be easier. We just write this much code and everything should automatically work. In the earlier example, we have to write the document.getElementById, document.getElementById. That would be a big deal. Now this become really simple. Okay, so how you see it, right? How jQuery have made our life easier. Earlier, when you are a JavaScript developer, you write everything. Now, with the introduction of jQuery, you come and just write this code. Ah, wow, how sweet. Got it? And then, okay, so this is another method. Okay, we use $.ajax earlier in this example, previous example. Here she is using another function called post. So this is explicitly to create a post request. And this is a function. There we gave an object. In the Ajax, we actually gave an object as a param. Okay, a complete object where you will be specifying the type, URL, data, and success. Okay. So here it is not an object. We will have 3 parameters. The first parameter will be the URL. Second parameter is what payload we need to send. And third parameter will be the callback function. So that is what she have done here. So post, the first parameter should be where it should go. And second parameter should be what data it should pass. And the third parameter she haven't used. So she will not get the response anytime. We don't want this here. Okay, this is etc $.post. This behaves little differently. Okay, so the callback function you can directly write here. Success function. Okay, here you can console.log. So here the first parameter will be our response from the server. Okay, I can take it as any variable name, parameter name. I can just put it here. Okay, now you will be getting the output. So now I submit. So now we are what are you doing? Console.log, line number 78. Yeah, line number 78 this is. So this is the response you got. So see, earlier we were writing var XML HTTP request, ready state change, that, this. Now see, this is so simple. Just call a post function in jQuery object. First parameter your URL, second parameter what data you have to post. That is the payload, and here we have to send the payload. That is what we have generated. Okay, so we have chosen the payload, and then this function would be the callback function. That's it. As simple as that. Any doubts here?
I have a doubt.
Yeah.
I read something like in post you can't handle event. Is that true?
What event?
Events.
What kind of event you are talking about? So for an API response, there is only one event, the response event that you will get here. So that is handled.
Okay.
What other event? Like I think if there is a failure, we have fourth parameter to handle the failures. So there are only two things possibly for this API request, right? In case it will be success or it will be error. Okay, so console.log error. I think the last parameter is for it. I don't know. Let's see. So if I give something like this, then this should be an 404 error. So let me just refresh it. Network. So now I click on submit. So this is an error. So let's see the console. No, you're not getting the error catched here. So let's see how to catch error. Catch error in $post. Catching errors in this is Angular. $post error handling. $post error handling. Okay. Error handling with .post. Okay. So the start parameter is something else, I guess. Okay. There's a couple of ways to do it. But if you're not getting the error response available through the JSON return object, oh, they don't. You're right. They are not specifying some error handler for it. We have some alternatives for it, but don't worry about it. Right now, we are not going to go so deep into jQuery. So we have to know like what are the things there just for basic. When you come to Angular, these everything will be easily handled in Angular. So don't worry about it. So as you told, yeah, we cannot handle the error here in the post function. Okay. Okay. And
I have one more question.
yes.
Is there a difference like some places we are using single quotes and some places we are using double quotes and it works for both?
Both are same, but generally we should use single quotes itself. They say that that is the best way, and there will be chances we should add the double quotes for some reason that I will, but generally follow single quotes. That is the proper way.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it then.
Yes. Others, any other doubts here, guys? Any other doubts?
No.
No. Okay. Chaitra, I haven't seen your homework. Wait. Chaitra, do you have any doubts there? Hello. Hello. Chaitra, are you there? Can you hear me? Are you there? Hello. Hello. Okay, let's see what she have done. I don't know what happened to her. Is she in the call?
She's in the call. She tried to unmute it, but it keeps getting muted again. I think some network problem or something.
Okay, fine. But let's review her code then. I have just opened her code here. So fine. So what is done here? Okay, so this is some kind of validation she have included. Okay, so a form should not be getting submitted. Okay, and see one more change there. RB, what you are doing is you are triggering the form. We are doing this function based on the submit function. Okay, you capture the submit event and did it. she is using the click event and doing it. Okay, so she must have the button as type button. So she will never get this submit event here, because only if submit button is there, you click on it, the form gets submitted and it will be a submit event. But she is just having this as button, so she will be getting only click event when clicking on this. So earlier we wrote like on click here itself. Okay, on click, and you write what function it should call. Okay, this is one method where you write HTML directly. Here in jQuery, she is saying the id is register, so dollar hash register. Okay, and then she's writing the click function for it. And don't worry about the other one, this document dot ready function. So they used to say like it is always good and safe and better to always wrap the whole JavaScript functionality or the jQuery functionality inside this. Okay, what does that mean is, you already know like dollar document, which means we are pointing to the actual document in JavaScript, I mean in jQuery. So this gives a whole document. Okay, dot, there we have an event called ready, which means this anything you have written inside this anonymous function. Here you can write an anonymous function. Anything that you are writing here will execute only after the whole document is properly loaded. That is the reason why you are using it. Okay, so now you have this right here, which means she's writing the same here, what I am writing here. Inside this, you can write your actual stuff. That is what she's doing here. So what is the meaning? This selects the whole document, and there you are using dot ready function. If it is ready, then when that event is triggered, then you execute the other code. That is what she have done. Okay, so there what she is doing, she is then writing a register click function, and there we have another anonymous function where she is getting the name, email, password, and if they are empty, okay, she is doing this validation. If either if anything is empty, then saying like please fill all the fields, and she is checking like if the length of name she have typed is greater than 3, because the name should not be less than 3, and she is checking like if password length is greater than 8. Okay, and if the password and confirm password doesn't match, she shows another error. And if everything is successful, only then she is doing this. This is more clear, like she have added one more step. That's awesome. So she have also done validation here. Okay, and it's going to register.php, and she's having some names, and the callback function, yeah, she's doing something. And you can reset the whole form like this, which means you can remove all the values of it. Okay, we earlier I showed like document dot get element by value, then you have to null it, or empty string it. Instead, we can use this reset. This will reset all the values. Reset in the sense it will clear the values that is already there. Okay, so this should work. And what she have done here. Okay, this is another method. So this is done in the click function. Okay, but she is also doing something else. Okay, she's creating a form data out of it, and she's using the same. So this is nothing, guys, like earlier when we did this server side form summit, right? That time we used to see it as form data here, remember? uh, how do I say it? How can I show it? uh, where do I have it? Oh, in Abyss code. So this is Abyss code, and I'm just removing this event.prevent default, then this will get submitted, right? Okay, now when you submit it, Abhi slash here, now I have removed the event.prevent default. So this will become server side submit now. So I'm submitting it. Okay, so now you see the network. So it is called this page. They have called this page, okay, with a post request. And you see below, it is a form data. Okay, F name, L name, DOB, cost. So these are the form data. Okay, we call it as form data. So now this is send as form data. This is not simply a JSON object. Okay, so this is what we call as form data. So what is she's trying to achieve is, in the Ajax request, she's trying to create this same form data, but that is not needed for now. We will be always using JSON kind of string itself, but this is a good opportunity for her to learn. So we have a form data class. We can create a new instance of it, and inside that she can append whatever data we need, and she can even send that to the server. So don't worry about it, but just know about it. We have something called form data, and there we can append each of the forms data, and then we can also make the HTTP request. Okay, earlier we used to do this way now, but everywhere we use this JSON stuff itself. We don't send form data there. We always will be sending JSON object, but this is also a way which we can do it. Got it? So, but don't worry about this. This is what we need to learn. So that also she have done properly. So yes, so she's creating the object directly here. She is not creating the object in a separate variable and putting. She's creating the object right here itself. Yeah, looks good. Data. Okay, fine. Yeah, awesome. So this is also correct. So now as we are learning this, we are getting different ways people have done, and we are getting the different ways we can do it. So I think this is really cool. So any doubts there, guys?
No.
Okay. Then what tomorrow? Okay, guys, others, what you have to do is right now she's showing this alert here, right? Okay, so instead of this, I don't want this in an alert. Everybody try validation, but the validation message should not be shown here. It should be actually shown right next to it. Like if name is not written, see if name is not typed in, okay, you have to show it in red right below this. Just find a way how you can do that.
Like moving the cursor above it.
No, you type
Like
it.
fill in the record fields like
Yes,
that.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, wait. If I can show you. Everybody got an idea about it, guys? You get an idea? I don't know if we'll. Yeah, fine. So nothing, guys. Like the same stuff, but here, if you're not typing and if you're clicking on the submit button, when the submit button is clicked, every record fields, okay, should have a red text here saying this field is required, this field is required, something like that. Okay, can you try that for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then that's it for the day. If there is no other doubts, is there any doubt? If no, then let's catch up tomorrow again.